Hello, welcome to COP 2220 where I'm going to do program 1 with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the Z drive, and this is a pretty important video if you're planning to use the Z drive, so please pay attention. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my browser and connect to portal.eng.fau.edu. Once I connect, I'm going to choose to connect with my browser. I'm going to put in my username, tsorgent, my FAU password, and log in. Once I've logged in, you will probably have an engineering student, but it's the same desktop, so we have the same issues on my desktop as well as you have on your desktop. So the next thing I'm going to do, and every time you log in, I believe you have to do this, I'm going to go down here to this Malwarebytes and show Malwarebytes anti-ransomware. And I've already done it, but just in case it was not done, I'm going to clear the exclusion so I can show you what you have to do. So there's an issue because we are building and creating applications. There is an issue with our with this software not allowing us to edit our applications. So you're going to have to check that this exclusion is there. If it is not there, all you need to do is add it. Now, I've already created on my Z drive, I have created a folder called homework. I have a lot of stuff on my Z drive, but right here, I have created a folder called homework, and that's where I'm going to do all of my projects for my classes. You can create a folder on your Z drive called whatever you want. I'm just using homework because it's the example in the PDF. So all I'm going to do here now is I'm going to add this folder to be an exclusion so that while I'm working on my projects, I do not run into this problem with the linking error. So if you do email me and you get this linking error problem, I'm going to refer you to this video, and I'm also going to refer you to a PDF that shows you how to do that. So once I select that folder, anything that I put into this folder on my Z drive should not have any problems with the linking error. All right, so now let's get started with our program 1. So I'm going to launch Canvas from inside of the desktop. So I'm on the student desktop or my desktop, and I'm going to go to Canvas so that everything is local on the cloud. So I log into Canvas. I'm going to find our class, which is Introduction to Programming in C, and I'm going to find program 1. So I'm going to do program 1 with you right now. I'm going to do it kind of quickly because I want to make sure that you guys actually go through the module material. This should not be a hard assignment. This is mostly about demonstrating my expectations. So I've downloaded the instructions. I'm also going to download the program 1 code. Now, this is a very important step as well. Once I download the program 1 code, if I click on it, it will launch Visual Studio. If I launch Visual Studio with a source code file, it will not create a viable project. So I don't want to do that. I want to take this program 1 code and open it with Notepad. Notepad is a plain text editor. This is the template that I've provided for you to do program 1. On each programming assignment, I will provide you with a template to help you get started. I repeat, if I try to click on program 1 and open it, it will automatically, because it's a .c file, it will automatically launch Visual Studio. If you launch Visual Studio with a source code file, it will not create a viable project. I need to create my project separately. These are my program 1 instructions. This is a PDF, so I can just read the instructions and the expectations for the assignment. All I need to do for this assignment is print the word hello, ask the user to enter the day of the month, assume the user will enter a correct date, and then print it back onto the screen. So today is August 26th. So I'm going to demonstrate with today's date. All right, so let's get started. My code skeleton is here in Notepad. So over here, this is my, if you have my full window, inside here is the browser that is the desktop and not my local computer. So I'm going to launch Visual Studio here on the engineering student desktop. And once I launch Visual Studio, I will then start to work on my project. It's very important when I create a new project that I create an empty project. This is a C++ compiler in which we're doing C programs, so we must create an empty project. And we will name our source code with a .c extension. So I'm going to call this project COP2220 program 1. I'm going to navigate into that folder in which I put the exceptions, which is my homework folder. So hopefully we will not run into any issues. So I just select that folder. That is the one where I went to the mal. If I open here, you can see that that is an exclusion. That is a folder in which I shouldn't have any issues. If I click this, this will create a folder within a folder. I don't need extra folders, so I'm going to check that so I only have one folder. I click Create. This is creating an entire project. This is an integrated development environment that creates a complete project with a compiler, a linker, and will allow you to create your full application. If I go into my folder here, I will see on my Z drive, in my homework folder, I will see now that this project has been created. Now I need to add the source code to my project, so I just go Project, Add New Item. Now we're going to select C++. Make sure over here that is selected Visual C++. You can make sure that that's selected. We are not doing C++ in this course. We are doing C. And the name of the source code for your first program is program 1. So I'm going to type in program1.c. This is the source code file, which is a plain text file for my first program. And I add it to my project. So if I click over here in my Solution Explorer, I can see that in my source code, I have program 1. This is my word editor, and this is my feedback window to develop my applications. You're going to do a lot of programs in this class, so you're going to get a lot of practice with this. So now I'm going to open up my skeleton that I have created and provided for you and talk about it. So I'm just going to copy that into my word processor. Oh, I did it again. Control A, Control C, Control A, Control V. All right. So this is the skeleton that I've provided for you. It is incomplete because I want you to have to work through some things. So at the top, you're going to add your name and the date, and you're going to have to fix these comments. There are two ways to do comments in C. The first way is to do / asterisk followed by asterisk / The other way is to do 2 /. So you need to look through all the module content. It explains all of this information in great detail. So here's another important thing. There is these are preprocessor directives. They start with #define or #include. This first preprocessor directive is for Visual Studio. So if you are using Visual Studio, you will need to include this preprocessor directive, and it must be the first or the topmost preprocessor directive. And if you want, it needs to be there only in Visual Studio. If you're using a non-Microsoft compiler, it will not affect anything. But if you're using a Microsoft compiler, you need to include it, or anytime that you use certain functions like scanf, you will have problems compiling your code. So my suggestion, I will give you a template for every assignment, and that preprocessor directive will be on every single template I provide for you. The next preprocessor directive we need to include is stdio.h. This is a preprocessor directive that allows us to read from the keyboard and print onto the screen. The next thing we need to, and again, I'm going quickly because you should look at the lecture content and learn about this before you're working on your assignment. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to complete my main function and complete my return 0 statement. Make sure that my code compiles. Every single program you do in this class will have this skeleton right here. This warning, this preprocessor directive for Visual Studio, a header comment at the top with your name, date, etc. #include stdio.h so that we can do interactive programs, and a block of code in which is your main function. And we will take this skeleton and build on it throughout the semester. So for program 1, the first thing you need to do is print the word hello onto the screen. So if you watch how I do things, I use the smart word processor in Visual Studio to help me to have good code and have good indentation. So the first thing I want to do is print hello onto the screen. Hopefully you've already done this. And I'm going to use \n because I want my cursor to move to the next line, and I will test that and make sure that it works. All right, build has succeeded. And when I test it, it prints the word hello onto the screen, so I know that it is working. All right, the next thing I need to do is enter the day of the month. I need to ask the user to enter the day of the month. Okay, so I'm gonna copy and paste here. So I want the user to enter the day of the month. I don't need to go to the new line yet. And let's test that. Okay, so what happened? It says enter the day of the month, but the user can't enter the day of the month. Well, obviously, because I need to have a variable to store the day of the month. And look at the lecture content about variables. Okay, I'm going to comment here, ask for the day. And then I need to use a different function to get the day. And I'm going to repeat that you need to go look at the lecture content and watch it carefully and practice and do things to understand what I'm doing. Don't just look at what I'm doing and then try and follow it and think that you're going to learn everything here. You need to, there are lectures, there is lecture material in the modules. All right, so now I'm going to ask them to enter the day of the month and scan in the day of the month. And every time I make a change, I test to make sure that it's always working. So I don't have to go a long way before I try to figure out where my problems lie, because this is a very short program, but our programs are going to get longer and longer throughout the semester. Then the next thing I'm going to do, if I look at my instructions, is I'm going to print the date onto the screen. So go back to my program, and I will have to use placeholders for this. So new line, today is August, and put a comma, space, %D. It will print that day onto the screen. What do I need to put? Just today is August 22nd. Okay. I added a comma there, but you don't have to. So today is August 20, whatever date the user enters. That's my placeholder. And then I put my variable here. And I will comment that, display the date. Again, I'm going very fast because this is not a teaching video. This is a video showing you my expectations of what I want for the assignments. I want you to go back and watch the teaching videos and practice, and you should be able to do this assignment on your own without watching me do it.